don't have to wait to teach your children to read. The younger they are, the easier they learn. You can start today to teach your children to read. Just have fun loving them. It's so easy to teach them to read.
Hello again. Are you still with us? Well, we do want to invite you to another show in our program, and we want to concentrate on giving you tips here of how to teach reading to toddlers. Now, these are just suggestions because you know your child, you teach your child, you know what he likes, you know what he goes for, so please, you follow your feelings and you're leading on it. But we do hope that our tips here can be of help to you. Of course, you do follow the reading method as we've described in earlier programs, where you show your child single words, then soon couplets, and that is something you can very, very easily do to even a group of toddlers. For instance, you know how when it's party time for a group of toddlers, it's a time where they have to sit still. You have to be there as the adult to supervise it, so it's a wonderful time to feed them, to pour into them. So party time is the ideal time to show reading words. Plus party times is something they have to do on a very regular basis, so there you have your times to show them their reading words. Now, if you find that you run out of ideas, where do I take words from? Maybe we can help you here. Again, in our handbook, you may refer to this list we've mentioned before, Baby's Basic Words, but now be even more detailed in your descriptions. Don't be afraid to use detailed and explanatory words as you, for instance, go on a walk with your toddlers. As you see rocks, describe them. There's rocks out of clay, there's sedimentary rocks, there are crumbling rocks, there are sharp rocks, all sorts of different words you can use. Or as you go to the park and you see trees, describe the tree, the bark and the cambium layer and the leaves and the veins in the leaves and the stump and rotten wood even. There's so much, just so many details you can use to increase their vocabulary and then to use these words in their reading program. So there's Baby's Basic Words, and then a very good and fun list to choose words from is a list here from this class, Beginning Drama. It gives ideas of drama ideas to do with children from age 2.5 years on, and it talks here about stooping and bending, sliding, shuffling, or swinging, reaching, pulling, tugging. Lots and lots of words you can choose from, and the fun thing is not only do you choose these words to make into reading words, but you also do the actions with them, and that's lots of fun, especially with toddlers. Another idea is some more action words you find listed here, again in this very same handbook on page 56, where it describes certain muscle movements and basic movements and skills which children have to learn to master. Again, it talks about lifting or waving or shaking, rolling, squeezing, creeping, lots and lots of fun words. It's about 100 of them listed right here. Again, not only teach them as words, but do these things with your toddlers and they'll love it. So, if you have boys in your group, and as we said before in a program, you teach them all about handyman and tools. Oops. We have right here in our handbook 2 whole pages where you can find tool words to choose from. Or you find something else very, very interesting here on page 166. There's an interesting list of words. Do you know what onomatopoeia is? It says onomatopoeia is a great big word for all the words that we use for the noises and sounds that things make. For instance, the cow goes moo and the doggy goes ruff, ruff, and a car goes vroom. So all these things are excellent words to teach to your little toddlers. Beautiful words, they're interesting, they're lots of fun when you show them, and your little ones will love them. The same with animal noises, listed on the same page here. The bees buzz or hum, frogs croak or lions roar, the sheep bleat. All these is another good word list for you to find words from to offer to your little ones. You might find, as you teach them the animal words, to use the plural form and then keep the verb just like it is, buzz or chirp or bark. And then later when you use couplets, you can very easily combine them into dog's bark or pig's grunt or snake's hiss, and you have your little couplets right ready there. All right? So these are fun words. Now, toddlers are ideal to teach colors to. And we found that a very easy way to teach colors is to use these color cards, as I showed these to you earlier. Now, for a group of toddlers, again, potty time is ideal to show them the whole group of these beautiful colors, just taken from colored paper, glued onto some cardboard, and you can flash them. Show them the color, say the name, yellow, blue, gold, purple, green, and so on. You can even add white and pink and gray and black. And if you do this for a week, those children know their colors in no time. And once you have shown them the colors, then you can put the colors onto reading cards and show them the color words. Now, little toddlers love to do things. They like to learn by doing things and learn the best that way. And in our handbook here, we have in the index a whole list of teaching ideas listed right here. I think it even goes on to the next page. No, maybe not. But several ideas listed of how to teach colors. Maybe you'll have a color day. Each day you choose, you say, okay, today's our red day, and you go around the room or go around the house hunting for red things. You collect them. You maybe have the children wear something red that day, or you color with a red crayon, and you enforce the learning that way. The next day choose another color and have another color day. Now, the same with learning shapes. A very easy way to teach toddlers the shapes is to, if you have some shapes available, to cut them out, to glue them on some paper, and just flash these shapes to them. Triangle, hexagon, circle, the oval, a heart. It's upside down, here we go. And I think this is the octagon. You can write the name of the shape on the back, and as you flash it, if you flash it like this to the child, you can read the name of the shape. So once again you've done this for a week, you just flash this information to them, you teach them then the reading words, and again you can play little activities. Go for a shape hunt. Go around the house and find all the squares and gather them up. So that's a very easy way to teach shapes. And again, in our handbook, in the index, it lists activities how to teach them. Now, you might have a little weather chart maybe by your window, and you might teach the children all the different weather words like cold and sunny and windy, and look it up in the index. And you might flash the words for a whole week, and then make a little activity by, in the morning, saying, okay, what weather word do we have to put up today? And if it's a sunny day, go and hang up the word sunny. And that's a fun little activity right there. Another idea is to teach them the days of the week. You can either flash them the days in single cards, or you can make a poster like this one and have, let's say, a little arrow which you can move down every day to the according day. And there even is a little song, I'm sorry I can't sing, but a little song to the tune of the 10 Little Indians, and you can just sing along as you show them the days of the week words. Another idea is to teach them the opposites. You find lots of books around, or even Ladybird books, which teach opposites. You can play little games with them, but right there you have a whole list of words you can teach them. Then we have some fun words which you can gather here from our curriculum guide. The arithmetic curriculum guide, for instance, lists to do an activity with the different textures. Right here we have a fun word list like rough and smooth and hairy, fuzzy, sharp, sticky, hard, and so on. Again, you find as you look for material like this, you get all inspired and all turned on, because you don't only show them the reading words, but you do things with them. You teach them the activities, and that's the wonderful thing about this early reading program, that you enhance and you enlarge their whole learning capacity and their whole learning about their environment. Or here are temperature words listed, which you can choose as well. Now, I hope this gives you some ideas and it gets you started, and you find as you start and as you go to it, there is no way of stopping, and you'll get inspired, and you'll find, especially in these books, many, many more ideas. But of course, these things all you can do with your toddler group as a whole. But don't forget to have that individual time with your toddler, where you or a daddy or an older brother or older sister just take the child and have sweet cuddle time with him and read books to him. Just enjoy that time together as a real special time where the child appreciates being close to you as well as appreciates learning and having all that attention. We'll invite a little toddler right now here, and we'll have a little reading time with him. Hello! Want to say hi, Christopher? You have a smile? What a nice smile! I love you. Christopher is 2 years old. Okay, ready for a fun book about rain? Do you have an umbrella, Christopher?
No.
No? Do you have some rain boots?
No.
Oh, then we better stay inside when it rains. But look, this little girl, look what's happening to her. She's going to go outside in the rain. This word says rain. Look there. She says, "It's rain. My umbrella keeps me dry. My hat keeps me dry. My raincoat keeps me dry. And my boots keep me dry." Look, she goes splish, splash in the puddles. Looks like fun. Oh, look at the car. Better go slow, because the rain is wet and the cars can skid. That means they can slide on the wet roads. Be careful. Lord Jesus, help and please keep us safe. Look at this hole here in the road. It's called a gutter, because the water goes in the hole down into the drain. Oh, look, I see a little kitty cat. Does she like to be in the rain?
No.
No, because they don't like to be wet.
A roof.
Yes, a roof, you're right. The rain, see the rain falling on the roof? Yes, and this is called the drain pipe here, because the rain gathers and runs down there. Interesting, huh? I see some boats.
Yeah.
Yes, a sailboat and a little rowboat. Oh, what happened here? Look, yes, it's raining so much the man waves his handkerchief. "Please help me! I'm stranded." He's on top of his roof because there is a flood. Oh, he rescued his kitty cat and his birdie.
She's just sleeping.
Yes, she's sleeping. She doesn't like the rain very much. Oh, look, and there's a storm. The wind is blowing. Look at the big rain cloud. And look at the thunderstorm, lightning flashing. Did you ever hear a thunderstorm? And see some lightning? Oh, we better cuddle up then, and we will be so safe inside the house. Oh, look, it's snowing. Oh, this is hail, little icy rocks. Oh, be safe. And look what
Rainbow.
Yes, isn't that so pretty? Look here, it shows you all the different colors. 7 different colors. Right? Right? So many. Is that fun? I'm going to show you another book too, Christopher. Can we do that? How about this one? So many pictures in here. Look at this one. Oh, oh my, somebody didn't clean up. What do you see?
A boot.
Right.
A shoes.
Yes.
A elephant.
Right.
That's it.
Is that your coat? Your jacket? Right. Oh no, I think somebody didn't put their clothes away neatly. God help us. And look at here. Activity time. Do you like to cut with scissors?
No.
You can? Maybe I can teach you too. Look, there's your pencils. Oh, toy shelf. Fun! Which one do you like?
A toy.
Yes.
A frog.
Aha.
A tutu-tray.
Right.
A car.
Those are called roller skates. You put your shoes on here and that means you have wheels on your feet and you can roll along. Roller skates.
A daddy.
Yes, so
A
sweet.
ball.
Aha.
A grass.
A big glove, a baseball glove. That's a skipping rope. Is that fun? And here's where the bathroom.
Daddy.
Yes. Can you find your toothbrush?
No. Okay.
Right. Do you see a sailboat?
No.
For when you go and have a bath?
No.
You can take a little boat with you. Fun! Oh my,
Dog.
cute. A little puppy.
It's a puppy. It's a puppy.
Yes, so many.
Tita.
Yes.
Tita.
Yes, there's the mummy and there's the little kitten. Oh, yummy lunchtime. Makes me hungry.
Apple.
Yes.
Orange.
Yummy.
And orange.
Yes.
Pear.
Right. That's a strawberry. And it looks some cherries. And this one is a prickly pineapple. It's prickly on the outside but sweet and soft on the inside. No, prickly. Prickly, like that. Oh my, what's all happening here? Looks like the closet. Yes, and here,
A tree.
fun. Can you find a swing?
No.
Is there maybe a swing on the tree? Look,
No.
right there. Swing, 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 swing. Hold on tight.
Bicycle.
Yes. Oh, this is a fun page.
Hammer.
Right. A chisel. That's a chisel. Can you find the paintbrush?
Yeah. No.
Right there. And yes, and can you find the pliers?
No.
The pliers. Open the pliers. Right there.
Okay.
And look. I see something dangerous. Don't touch it. It's an axe. See this one here? Oh, don't touch it. So careful because it's so sharp. So sharp. Oh, be so careful. Daddy needs the axe to cut the trees down. And some farm pictures. Is that fun?
Daddy.
Yes. Yes, little duckling.
Oh.
Okay, fun, Christopher. This is a nice book, isn't it? I like this book.
4.
Christopher, can I show you some shapes?
Yeah.
Would you like to see them? Look at these. Here we have a circle and an oval, a heart, a octagon, and a square, a heptagon. That means it has 7 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Heptagon. A rectangle, a triangle, a hexagon, a star, and that's all. You were a shiner. Yes, Christopher, thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. Well, this is the end of this little show about toddlers, and thank the Lord for these toddlers. Aren't they a blessing? And such a blessing to be with them and to teach them. We love you, and we pray that you have lots of fun pouring into your little ones. Want to wave bye-bye? You want to read more books? Shall we wave bye-bye here? Okay, can you give a little wave? Can you blow a kiss? Good. Bye.
You don't have to wait to teach your children to read. The younger they are, the easier they learn. You can start today to teach your children to read. Just have fun loving them. It's so easy to teach them to read.
Hello again, and welcome to Picture Facts. This is the name of this show today, and it is a part of our reading program. It's an idea we gleaned from Glenn Dorman's video, Teach Your Baby to Read, as well as some of his other writings, and we have shown you some of these picture facts in previous shows. The purpose of this show is to show you how easy it is to make these picture facts, how easy it is to teach with them, and how many picture fact ideas we have available already in our publications, especially in our 2 handbooks. So I do hope this show is a blessing to you, and you will have seen at the end of the show how easy it is. Here we go. Actually, when preparing this show, I thought about not only how easy it is to teach with these facts, because it is a real quick way to present facts and knowledge to children. Now, our purpose is not to just fill our children with knowledge and head stuffing. And I thought about it, and I got the verse about how knowledge puffers up, but love is what edifies. Of course, if we teach our children, we do want to do it in a very loving way. The ultimate goal is not to just give knowledge, but to make our children happier by helping them to be more challenged, be more fulfilled, by using their time wisely, and by applying that what they have learned as we teach them. So, here we go. You might find that you have already around the house lots of things available which you can use for these picture facts. For instance, it's very easy to find foreign language cards which offer quite nice little pictures, often with the foreign word written and the English word. Now, as teaching these facts, we are not concerned about the words, but what we want to show the children is these little cards. Now, these cards are a little bit tiny, and you would probably only use them for a very small group of children. But as you show them these cards, you can explain to them, for instance, all these different monkeys, or you have animals, tame animals, or you have animals from the cat family, or mammals which live in water. So these pictures, which already are grouped being mammal cards, you subdivide them into further little groups and give the child the category, say, okay, well, look at some mammals which live in water as you flash them this little group of cards. So these are quite easily available. You might even have different cards available, like this little set, a little bit bigger already in size. Again, you want to try to find the cards and use cards as big as possible, especially if you teach a group of children. So as you would flash them, you just say the name of the picture, and there you go. They learn all these different facts in a very quick and easy way. The whole idea of the Ladybird picture books is just that very same system. You flash them, good realistic pictures, quite fast, just like we've done with the little babies. Shoe, oops, here we go, sweets, bath, ball, and so on. You just concentrate on the picture. Right now, you don't even worry about the words. But here we have a whole page of nice, clear pictures, and these are just like picture facts put into book form. It's the same basic principle. Now, I will show you here some different picture facts, which I've made cutting out pictures from different books. Here, all these are different birds. You can very easily flash these to the children. I've kept the name of the animal on the top here for my reference, where I'm not worried right now about teaching this word to the children. What I can do is flash the child all these picture facts and then make a separate set of just the words after they know the different facts pictured. So here we have birds, or we have a whole different set of dogs, the funny looking poodle here, or the Afghan hound, the Great Dane. Now, when showing picture facts to children, there is no set rule really how to do it, and you don't want to go too fast that the child does not get the information. But also, you don't want to over-explain. You might, at different times, as you give these picture facts, point out different things about different animals, like the spotted fur of the Great Dane, or let's say the collie dog, how it's real soft, or the German Shepherd dog. You might talk about him, how he's used to help blind people, or how he's used as a police dog. Like, not only teach the name of the animal, but also use it to teach about the picture. Again, according to the child's understanding, according to his ability and vocabulary. Then we have more facts here about different fish. This is a very interesting category, and again, you're not only teaching the name of the animal, but teach about the animal. If you find it helpful, you could even write information on the back of the card, so you can be sure somebody else who teaches with these facts can offer the same information. Another category about fish, again, you would offer these facts grouped into categories. Like, you wouldn't just have some fish and dogs together, but there should be some kind of categorical order to them. Now, another group of facts I have here is taken from our handbook, and all these are different occupations. This was Xeroxed and enlarged, and this is a very good series for real young children. The cook and the teacher, a mommy or a childcare helper, a handyman, all the different occupations in our life. The same is done here with farm animals. And as you store these picture facts, keep them either rubber banded together or with a clip, and even with the category name. And here we go. Some good easy facts to flash to young children. Or you might find that you have animal posters which you can gather up, and you can do the same thing here. Again, keep them in their category. We have wild animals, beautiful pictures. These actually were taken from a calendar, I think, and we held on to them. Beautiful, aren't they? Now, of course, you can use these to put around the children's rooms, put reading words with them, or if you want to glue them in a scrapbook, and it's the same method there. You could, after you've introduced them along for some time, you could glue them into a book with word on one page, picture on the next page, and you have a very interesting reader for the children. So there's lots and lots of different possibilities. More animals. Here I grouped dogs and cats together because I did not have very many of each kind, and since they both are home animals, I thought they could belong together into a category. Look at this funny one. I think he's called a lion dog. Amazing. What a variety of things the Lord's made. Thank you, Lord. Now, another idea is what I want to show you here, a talk about book. These are pictures I found in magazines which I find do not fit into a category, but they're just interesting pictures to talk about, and I've gathered them and just glue them in a book, and it's like a child's talk about book, and we can just go through with different children, even of different ages, and talk about these things. Many children have maybe never seen real cherries or a fountain pen. We can explain about these things. Here's the picture of Van Gogh's sunflowers, and here's a picture of real sunflowers, just to compare. Or a castle. So often in magazines you find very interesting pictures, and this is a good place to keep them. Not for reading purposes, just to enlarge the children's knowledge and understanding of things. Here to talk about a great sports, a marathon race, or mountain climbers. Good photographs of things that children usually might not see. So this is a good little idea called the Talk About book. Now, I want to show you how you can make picture facts by just going through our handbooks, and there is lots and lots of ideas. Here we go. Here we have the first one. Now, these, as I go through these books, I will just show you what we have to offer here, but some of these things will be for older children, some for younger ones, but again, this is just to give you the ideas. And we will list at the end of the show a summary of where to find what, just so you can just watch it now and you don't have to take notes now. You might take this page and list the opposites, and you can enlarge them, you can make little cards from them, or maybe you even have these little cards. Or here, if you are teaching your primary children about punctuation, why not put the punctuation signs on a little factual card, on a little picture fact? The question mark and the exclamation mark, and since our handbook here gives the direct definition of what it is, put the definition on the back of the card and read it to the children, and you have a good little review system even of these things here, and teach them exactly what is what. What is a quotation mark, what are brackets, what are all these different punctuation signs. Now, the same you can do with geometric figures, or something here I've made for a little group all about simple geometric lines. There's the straight line, the curved line, a broken line, a intersecting line, parallel lines, and perpendicular lines. A very easy way to teach. You can do the same by copying geometric solids onto picture facts and flesh these. Actually, a fun idea when studying solids with children is to make those solids out of Play-Doh, let the children form them, and as they do things with their hands, they very easily learn the different names. Then you might have a book about musical instruments, and you might use that to make picture facts. But then also in here we have Bible instruments, and you can use them as they are, or you can enlarge them on a Xerox machine and make those into some picture facts. Again, the title card here tells me the category. We have some trumpets, we have a lyre. You can explain to the children it doesn't have to do anything with telling lies. It's an instrument similar to the harp, cornets, drums, etc., and so on. So right here there's endless possibilities. Here's a whole list of composers. Again, I use these cards also to make picture facts from, and according to the age of the children and their understanding and what they've learned, you can flash these cards. Mozart, they might even like to listen to something from him, or Handel, and they might learn in their other studies about different about their people's lives and their music. But then let them see how these people looked like and use them as picture facts. The same with writers. You find a good list of writers and poets, either in, there's a few in here, but there's also some in the rhyme book. Now, you might teach your children all about gardening, and there are several pictures here which show different indoor plants, like the spider plant and the sweet potato, all these different names. And again, since the book here gives us information about the plant, you can put the information on the back of your picture card and teach the child as you show him the picture fact. So, you might find even more ideas in here. And as we go through our next handbook here, there is much more. Here is a very interesting page all about the wonders of the bird and fish world. If you Xerox this and cut it out, it's a beautiful opportunity to teach the children one by one about the archer fish or the electric eel, the tailor bird who sews his nest together. Very interesting. And there's a few more on the next page. Easy, is it? I hope I can give you some ideas here. Very interesting if for older children, as you teach them history, to use the colorful characters of the different ages which we have listed here and make picture facts of these. We have a whole series here. Even as you go through the history section in this book, you find a lot of heads of state which you can photocopy and use to make a collection of picture facts from. Even as you study current politics and things with your older children, you might gather pictures from heads of states of these current times from news magazines and use those to put into picture facts. So the possibilities are really endless. Here is a very interesting page all about transportation. If you don't have another book or you have a book, don't want to cut it up, use this page, Xerox it, possibly enlarge it if you can, and make picture facts from this. The same with houses, more samples, or different peoples. Or from the science section here, for instance, it talks all about the different types of energy. And as you flash them, these things, you talk about solar energy, chemical energy, electric energy, and so on. You might have taught them, and you can later then flash these facts as a review system. We have more things here. A whole page about mammals. Look at this animal. He's called the grumpus. Interesting. I never saw this before. Birds. I think I skipped the page here. All different animals of the cat family. Enlarge this page and put it onto picture facts. Interesting, isn't it? Here we have a page about the way animals move. You teach them the facts as you flash each card, and they learn so much about the measuring worm or the powerful hind legs which make the frog a champion jumper. The kangaroos here. Or we have a picture, some picture facts here about how animals protect themselves. Very interesting. Well, the possibilities are endless, as you see, and there's much, much more, but we will list all these ideas for you at the end of this show. Now, I just wanted to explain and make clear the point of why these picture facts are so easy to teach from. The purpose is that as the child looks at them, as you present the facts to the child focuses his whole concentration at just one object. Instead of in a book, the child will get distracted by looking at many objects at the same time. Now you single one object out and have him focus his whole concentration on it at once. You will see for yourself how fast you have to go with presenting these facts. This will depend on the child's age, on his understanding, even at the amount of cards you have. That will vary too according to the categories you have available and the facts you have available. So this is just to give you ideas of what to use, and we hope you will from here take up the ideas and use them and have lots of fun with them. We will list for you now the different possibilities of where to find picture facts in our puns.
You don't have to wait to teach your children to read. The younger they are, the easier they learn. You can start today to teach your children to read. Just have fun loving them. It's so easy to teach them to read.
Hello again and welcome to our reading program. I hope in this show I can give you some tips to help you as you teach your preschoolers. But to begin, I wanted to share a comment from Glenn Dolman here in his book, Teach Your Baby to Read. He's talking about how the eye only sees but doesn't understand, just like our ears hear but don't understand. It is only our brain which understands. And he goes on to say that many animals can see or hear much better than us humans, but nonetheless, he says, no chimpanzee, no matter how good his vision or his hearing, will ever read the word freedom through his eye or understand it through his ear. He hasn't the brain for it. And then he goes on to say how our brain starts growing at conception and how this is the time to consider this wonderful organ. He says, from conception on, the human brain grows at an explosive rate which is continually on a descending scale. The whole process is essentially complete at the age of 8. At birth, the child's brain makes up 11% of the total body weight, while in adults it's only 2.5%. Interesting. When the child is 5, the growth of the brain is 80% complete. When he's 8, the process of brain growth is virtually complete. During the years between 8 and 80, we have less brain growth than we had in the single year between the ages of 7 and 8. This is very interesting. We hear so often how it is said that it's important how much our children learn in the first 5 years of their life, and we are glad we can help you with ideas and tips to pour into your little ones and to help them learn in these beginning years. Well, the preschool children are usually the ages between 3 and 4, and they are a very fun age to teach. And as you teach them, again, we're thinking as you teaching them as a whole, you have a whole little class of them, you will think of ways how to present lots and lots of learning materials to them. And you might even find yourself thinking, reading, thinking words. Where can you find things to present to them? Their schoolroom, you probably want to set up to have lots of pictures and words around, or you just, if you have a nature display, label the things you display. Just have words everywhere. This is also the time when you will be doing your couplets, as we've talked about in previous shows. This is like your review system. You take the words you already had presented to them and present them with a noun and a verb, or an adjective and a noun. You even start your little sentences and you make your own homemade readers. Yet at the same time, you also will continue flashing your whole group of preschoolers single words. For instance, if they have had an exciting outing to a new playground, or maybe they could go to the zoo, you use all these opportunities to present new words to them. One little word I want to give here is about review games. We talked about before how we don't want to test the child. The child likes to learn, but he doesn't like to be tested. And it's usually us adults who are teaching who want to find out, now, does this really work? Do they really know their words? And so we are tempted to test them. But you want to try to hide your testing and play different little games. For instance, you could lay out a whole group of your words and ask them to go and run and get the word lawnmower, or one goes and runs and gets the word refrigerator, or you give them little commands and they, by playing it, and they don't know they are tested. And if you play these games after you have shown them the words for 4 or 5 or 6 days, you can be pretty sure that they know them. Other little games to play is matching their body part words with their own body parts, or if you show closing words, you can have paper dolls and have the children match these words. So there's lots of different ideas, and you can look in the index of our publications to find more review games. As you search for more words, you also will want to think of words which you can teach the children in a song. You know from the songs your children listen to how quickly children learn songs. It's phenomenal. So if you can present words to your child as you sing a tune to them, they have learned them in no time. I will give you just a brief little list of these type of word lists. I've called them musical word lists. The books of the New Testament from the Heavenly Sunshine tape the books of the Old Testament from the same tape, Heavenly Sunshine. Then you can flash them, the 12 disciples, their names, while you sing them the song to it. You can find that little song in the rhyme book. Or you flash them the 12th month of the year. You can use the tune from the books of the Bible song. Or the days of the week from the 12th Little Indian song. And at the end of this show, we will give you again some ideas of different word lists which you can use to choose reading words from. Now, you might like in your little room where you have your preschoolers, you will probably have a nice reading corner, nice bookshelves in the height where the children can easily get to them, and you will find that your children will really enjoy reading different books and looking at books. That's what it mostly will be, just looking at them. But you will help them to develop a real love for their books, and you will find that even real beneficial for in-between times when the children have to wait while you maybe help one single child in your little group. So these times are very well spent by looking at books. Please do use this time to teach your children the proper care of books. If the children find any ripped pages, then have them come to you right away to get them fixed right then and there. Have some good tape on hand to get these little things taken care of right away. When the children put books away, teach them to do it right with a spine showing so your bookshelf looks neat and tidy. Teach your little ones not to step on books or not to throw books, of course, but right at this young age to be real careful to teach them the proper care. Now, if you have a set of books which are very dear to you and which you wouldn't like to just have sitting out on a bookshelf for a lot of children to come and look at, you might want to keep them separate. For instance, these nice Bible books. A lot of children reading a lot of books a lot of times, of course, shows up on the book. So if you don't want books to get messed up, keep them separate and only pull special books out for certain reading times, times where you actually can supervise the children, make sure these books are well taken care of. Something else interesting is if you do have your little group and they're all having their look at book time, it's quite revealing to see what type of books certain children go to. And there's quite a difference. The children are so different and their likings really differ quite a bit. Now, we have talked so far of what to do with your little group of preschoolers as a whole. Now, the individual reading time with your children is, of course, very, very important. And this is the time when you probably start using readers. We have our own publication of readers, and then there, of course, are the Ladybird readers, or you might find a series like this. It's a little Christian series. These come in 3 different readers. Or here's another little children's reading series. Please do be on the lookout for different readers you can use for your children. Now, how can we go about it, teaching a whole group and making sure everyone gets their individual reading time? First, start out by pooling together all the readers you can find in your house, in your home. And you might want to make a list of those readers in your record book or in your log book, whatever you call it. Especially if you teach a whole little group of children, you want to be sure you keep record. So a record list could look something like this. You list the different readers you have available, you list the children on the top, and check off which child accomplished to read which reader. This gives you your record. if you have a whole group of 10 children, let's say, to take care of, this would take you a very long time to spend individual time with each one, so you need help. Teens are ideal and they have a real burden. You might want to give them the vision about teaching reading to these little ones, and then you want to be sure you show the teen first how you do it, that you just give information to the child, you don't test the child, you really enjoy that reading time with your child, so that your teen helper will have the same method and going about it the same way you do. So you're in real unity there. From experience, we found that if you say that you have your daily reading time with your little group, if one teacher takes care of about 3 or 4 children, that works quite well. So in a little group of 10, you might have 3 different teachers who teach them to read, including older brothers and sisters or teens. And it's worthwhile to have the same teacher be with the same children for the reading time, just to be sure the teacher knows what progress the child makes or which books he likes or doesn't like. That is definitely helpful. Of course, your readers, you don't want to keep all out in your reading corner where all your other books are, so that the children can have access to them. The readers are something very special, and whenever a child has finished a reader, you want to make a real big ordeal about it and really praise him for it, and your child will feel accomplished about it. So as then you pull out a new reader, it needs to be something brand new to your child, and it shouldn't be something your child has seen before. So be sure to keep your readers out of the children's reach and just pull these books out as you need them. And now I want to stress a point which I find very important. Just like we explained in the Glendoman series, that when you show your single words, then you show your couplets, and you make your little sentences, and at the end you make your own readers for the child out of the words he knows already. That means any book the child so far has read has vocabulary which your child already is familiar with. He knows all the words in there. And that same principle holds true for reading other books with your little children. As your child takes a book in his hand, he should know the words that are in the book before you ask him to read it. Because otherwise, if you just open the book and show him maybe the word just once and say, this says Peter, or this says Jane, or this says dog, and he doesn't know the word before, and he comes across it on the next page, it's like a testing and it's like a quizzing. Maybe he gets it, maybe he doesn't. We want to avoid that. We want to make, for the child, reading a book should be a surprise, should be a reward, and he should feel very at ease about it because he knows the words, because you flash the words to him beforehand. Now, the Ladybird reading series has word cards to go along with it. You could show these word cards either to the child individually, or you could even make it a project for your whole group to show them the words all together. Or you can show them in the Peter and Jane books, you can show them the different characters so they know who Peter is and who Jane is, and then you could flash them all these different words. All the verbs which come to pass in this reading series or in any other series you use, just make it a verb category and flash the whole group all these verbs which they will come across in later readers, so that by the time your child reads a Ladybird book or one of these other children's readers, he knows all the words in there. So again, I want to stress this. As your child reads the word, he should know the words in there. For instance, what you will find in this reading series here, I'll show you this again, and I will show you the last page in here. This is very helpful. It lists all the new words in the series. It's this whole book only has about 3, 5, 8, 10, only about 20 new words. Now what you can do is, in your reading time every day, start out flashing your child the first 10 words from this group. This would be, in this little reader, the word David, come, ride, Anne, see, Timmy, up, down, mother, and the word oh. Flash these words, try flashing them twice or even 3 times. It goes real fast, and you encourage the child, remember, you just look, I just flash you the words, do it while he's brushing his teeth or even while he sits on the potty. Just try to get those words in, and it goes real quick and real fast. And then after maybe you have flashed them for 3 or 4 days, you can start with the very first few pages in this book, because he already is familiar with these words. And the very first page then would be the word David. Now, I have experienced that when flashing big words to a child, even a 3-year-old child, and then offering the child a reader like this, that the print was too small for the child. Here is the print as it's given in this book, and I found a remedy by taking a blank sticker and rewriting the print to make it bigger for a young child who might not be able to read this. You will find that your child might really, really like the word cards and be all excited about the word cards, but then as you open the book to him and show it to him, he might lose interest, and it very easily could be that the print is too small. So this is a remedy. Here the words rewritten. Here is a comparison of word size. This print is rather small for a 2.5 or 3-year-old. Also, by doing this, you could just read to the child the words on the sticker, and because often in these reading series they repeat their words a whole lot. We repeat our reading words by just flashing them to the child, but in these reading series they try to really make sure the child gets to know that word by putting the word down over and over and over, and sometimes it just sounds funny. For instance, on this page, oh daddy, come, come, come see, come see. It just sounds funny to a child. A child doesn't speak like this. So instead of worrying about all these many comes and these many sees, just write it once, or sometimes don't even write any words on a page. Here's just the new word written bigger. So, I think that's all to say for this little series. I hope these tips were of help to you, and I want to remind you now that please stay tuned, because we will show you where in our publications you can find good ideas for word lists for this preschooler age. And we'll see you next time with another show.
You don't have to wait to teach your children to read. The younger they are, the easier they learn. You can start today to teach your children to read. Just have fun loving them. It's so easy to teach them to read.
Hello again and welcome to our reading program. We will show you tips today about teaching reading to primary school children. And we have a guest with us today, Mary. She's 14 years old and she has taught reading to about 10 5 to 6 year old children. And we thought we have her here to share her experiences. Hi Mary, glad
Hi.
to have you.
Nice to be here. Well, teaching our children, we actually discovered that reading can be fun. That was a big victory and really different for me to see, as teaching children before, reading had always been a real drag. Now, we'd started a reading program where we put each of the children on different readers for them to read by individually. And that was about 2.5 months ago. Now, looking back to when we first started, there was quite a few children that were really turned off to reading. Like they didn't really look at it as fun, or it was like a drag, or perhaps they'd experienced pressure in the past. So,
How did you start? What did you do first when you wanted to? You set yourself probably the goal and you prayed about it. And
Yes.
what did you do next?
well, we set aside a time every day
Mm-hmm.
to where, like, some of the children were weak readers and they did need help on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like 5 to 6 years old being a very crucial age to which you want to establish a firm foundation in their reading, we set aside a time every day to work on their readers with them, different individual readers. And we found the real key was keeping it short and fun and quick and inspiring to something to which they would look forward to as really exciting, something we keep special just for them. And we'd stop it when they were still interested, so they would still be waiting to what would come next. Now, when beginning a new reader, we found it important to teach the words using flashcards before that, so they would know the words, plus arousing an interest to the reader when they see all these different words that are inside it. But to make sure they really know all the words before they begin a reader, so then it's not such a big momental thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the case of one particular child, we had been showing him the flashcards, but then we discontinued too soon, as we thought he already knew it and he didn't need them anymore. But then he began to lose interest in reading. So we found it very important to keep that up, as it really keeps the child's interest.
And it makes it easy on the child, right?
Right.
Okay, very good.
But then you do want to be sure not to bore the child, and as they progress, that there does come a point where they don't need the flashcards anymore, and you can discontinue their use.
You might find that you probably have some difficult words or new words which the
Right.
child hasn't seen before yet.
Right.
But all that input so far you have given him really now comes
Yes.
to his help and to his
Yes.
aid. Good.
Now, regarding before that, due to many children having fears towards reading, when teaching a whole group of children, we began by flashing them flashcards of various categories. Now, that was mostly like to overcome their own fear, to show them how it was so easy on their part. So we didn't follow any set curriculum for that, but for that we would go through, like any subject we would teach, or any excursions we had, various studies, we would use it as an opportunity to teach them reading, making flashcards and flashing it for them. For example, we had a video about bees. We had a study all about them, so we did the flashcards of the drone, the hive, the honey. Or they learned about bicycles. and we taught them all the different parts of the bicycle. What was fun too was afterwards when you see them with a bicycle, they use all the correct vocabulary. Or even we had a study about dogs, and they learned all the names of various dogs, some of which I have a hard time with. But that was mostly like to overcome their fear. And it was so easy on their part. It was like the first step before we began the individual readers with them.
And not only did all they did was to sit there and take it all in,
Right.
but it also helped them to really review the lesson. Like
Yes.
they didn't forget their study about the bees, or they
Yes.
didn't forget the parts of the bicycle anymore, just by being flashed those words consistently.
Right.
Now maybe we can show our audience some of these categories you've used.
Yes.
Animal families, bees, the bicycle, birds, boats, body parts, bones, butterflies, children's birth dates, continents, countries of Asia, dictionary definitions, sheep and cattle dogs, scent hounds, toy dogs, large working dogs, gun dogs, terriers, and other dog breeds, fireman words, flowers, hair, instruments, month of the year, the oceans, parts of an ocean liner, planets, rocks, sea world, shapes, and spelling words. So all these were subjects that children studied about, and then Mary, you put these subjects into reading words to
Yes.
flash to the children, right?
Right. Another thing we found very important was to give reading a set time in our schedule daily, because with so many other activities going on, it does tend to get pushed aside. So we found it essential to give it that importance, where we set aside a time every day. In that case, it was a great help just to keep a chart, to keep a record of which reader each child is on, which page he's on, which makes it much easier, so you can just flow right into your reading every day. Now, as far as the child individually, we found it very nice to keep a little booklet to where he can see his own progress.
Good idea.
The example of this booklet right here, to where the child can look forward to it, so when he's completed a reader, he gets a sticker, plus he can see his own progress.
So you write the title of the reader he's read, and then give him a sticker for each little
That's
book.
right.
I see you put the date on there too.
Yes.
Very good.
Now, with it being a large number of children, we did have another factor to where some children were good readers. So during that hour, where we would take the weak readers aside for individual reading time, the more advanced readers, we would have them read on their own, but at the same time it would be done on a progressive level, or they could also use this time for reading other children's pubs. But then we did find it necessary to occasionally pull even the advanced readers aside just to check on their reading, because sometimes while they're reading out to you, you might want to practice reading with expression, or even when they get to big words that they don't know, rather than just breezing through them or mispronouncing them, you might want to keep check on that.
Very good.
Now, with the example, we did have one child in our group who, although she was older, she was a rather weak reader, but I thought she was an advanced reader, and the only way I found out was by pulling her aside and having her read to me. So then I found out, and I put her on a reader too, along with the others, so now she's making the needed progress.
Very good.
Now, we did find it a big help not only just to have one person working with a large number of children. Now, myself, I have another teen who helps me, but we did find it very important that the other teen observes the main teacher, so that we make sure the children are handled the same way, so they don't have to get used to a whole different set of being handled. So that way it makes it easier, and it makes it flow easier. So we keep the standard the same.
Very good. And you probably find that you have certain children you read with, whereas the other teen has another
Right.
set of children he reads with.
Right.
Mhm.
The child tends to make more progress reading with a teacher he feels more comfortable with.
Yes.
Now it's been so encouraging to see all the many victories that have been accomplished over this short period of time of just 2.5 months. When we first began, there were quite a few children who could barely read. So like when we would even try to have our word studies, it was quite a battle because they couldn't read, they couldn't follow along.
Mm-hmm.
So we found we had to use materials such as flannel graphs.
Mm-hmm.
But now just consistently working on it faithfully every day,
Mm-hmm.
they've made so much progress. But the main thing is just being consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And now the payoff is when we study the Word, they're all eager to read a verse from the Bible. Or they can really enter in and really participate a lot more. And what's also really rewarding is when you see them on their own free time. They're eager to read on their own or read the Word on their own, which is a real big reward. And it's also helped them in so many other ways. Like academically, the more advanced ones are the best readers. It also, in the case of one child, he had a problem being very rowdy, or when he had free time or parent time, it was just free time or just being rowdy. But the factor that he can read now, he can sit down and is interested in books. So just the fact that he can read has greatly helped his behavior.
Wonderful.
Or with the example of another child, he was rather lazy and not so interested in his studies. But just being able to read, it's kind of like aroused his whole interest. Or even with the example of the flashcards, just flashing different factual information to them. Now it's just really aroused their interest in their environment to where you hear them naming correct vocabulary for all kinds of things. So, but the main thing we found was just real consistency being the main key to making the children making the progress needed.
Very good. Now I have one practical question. When you have your time set aside for your reading, how do you work it out? Do you have all your children in your room together? Do you take each reader aside so he's not surrounded by a whole lot of other children?
Yes. Like, perhaps if the child was asked to read in front of the whole class, he might feel very embarrassed or awkward. So we found it important to take the child aside, maybe to a corner or a quiet place, to where his reader is just his reader. So he doesn't have to feel any competition with maybe so-and-so's reader is much harder. So I'm not so. But
You keep it very individual that
right.
time.
So he
Very
doesn't
good.
experience any peer pressure.
Very good.
So we'll have the advanced readers maybe sitting on a table quietly together, and then we'll pull the ones who need reading aside.
Very good. And you've also experienced that that time is a time they really do look forward to every day.
Something short and fun and
Yes.
inspiring and exciting.
Yes, and they're accomplishing something.
Right.
Very good. Well, that was very helpful. Thank you so much, Mary. Maybe you could show us some of the type of readers you use.
Yes.
In my last show, I have shown and given some examples of readers to use with children ages 3 to 4. Now, just to give you a sample of books that are available. Here is a series with some quite funny, it's quite a funny series, and at times tends to be a little bit foolish and a little bit senseless. Nevertheless, it's so different to the child that it does catch his interest, and the child might very easily learn to read from this series. If you find that it feeds any foolishness, you might want to avoid this. But besides these books, there are these beautiful ladybird books available, all about well-loved tales or all these beautiful stories which have proven to be a real blessing in their reading. And by the time a child reads a reader like this, you probably don't have to show him flashcards first anymore. You might just want to write down words he had a bit difficulty with, and you can review those to him. Do you have any other books, Mary?
Yes, or such as this Ronald Rideout series here. Takes it on a progressive level within each reader. Now we do find that some children are more interested in different series than others. So, or maybe halfway through the series he'll get bored. So maybe you might want to discontinue the use of it and go on to something else just to keep his interest.
That's why it's really helpful to have a page in your logbook where you have a list of all the books available to you, and you can just check off what the child has read, and you know exactly where he stands.
Yes.
Very good. Then we also have another series here. You might have seen these. This is a series of 10 books, all about a sight-word reading program. Really cute, beautiful, cute art. Well, this dog isn't really cute, but it's cute stories and on the children's level. The children really like this and something they can relate to. Then the next group in this series is certain consonant blends, which takes, for instance, R blends, and within the book are a whole bunch of words with R. So the child gets quite a good practice here with the series. And Mary, this is the last group in that series.
So this is the more advanced of the series, which offers different consonant diaphragms.
Which are phonograms.
I think, yes.
Like, do you want to give us an example?
Such as, now it has them on the back, such as th. Now within the book it will offer different words with a practice of that phonogram. Now we found it helpful in this, at the same time, just to aid the children's reading, we're teaching phonics at the same time. So we'll use these readers as a supplement to teaching the phonics.
Okay. Well, we'll be talking about phonics in one of our upcoming shows, so please stay tuned. And now to the end of the show, we will give you another list of ideas taken from our publications where you can choose words from for your children of primary school age.
You don't have to wait to teach your children to read. The younger they are, the easier they learn. You can start today to teach your children to read. Just have fun loving them. It's so easy to teach them to read.
Hello again. We're almost done with our reading series, and I hope that with this show today, which talks about late starters and how to help them, that I can give you some tips on how to overcome some difficulties which some children have, or some children who haven't taken off with their reading yet. Somebody once explained to me that teaching reading is a lot like an airplane that goes along on a runway, and some airplanes take off, some children take off like with an explosion and they just fly, whereas other children, they maybe have a little takeoff, They're not flying very high yet, or they're even a very long time still on the runway, but nevertheless, even though they are not yet traveling, they are getting somewhere. Now, even being on the runway will help the child under one condition: if whatever is put into the child is done in a fun and enjoyable way. And I hope that with all these previous series we have had, that I could really convey that message, that teaching reading should be something that you yourself first of all enjoy, because if you enjoy it, you will make it fun for the child, and if the child enjoys it, he will certainly learn it. All I've shared so far, I wish I would have learned earlier, and I wish I would have remembered that reading is something very easy to do for children, but I didn't. And I've made many mistakes, of which I want to share with you some, for the sake that you don't have to make them, and you should hopefully learn from my mistakes and learn that this time with your child where you teach him to read can be lots of fun, can be very easy, and please don't make the mistakes I've made. Now, number one mistake I've made in the past is that I've tested the child. And if you read Glenn Doman's book, he talks over and over about not testing, not letting the child have to prove itself, but just give information, just give the input. Whereas I would maybe get so excited about trying a new or a different approach in reading, but right away I wanted the child to prove himself or herself, and I would ask, well, what's this word, or read this to me, and if it wouldn't go, I'd get so frustrated. So please don't test. Just remember, input, 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 and have the faith that with you giving that input, your child will get it all. It will all pay off. It's all, remember that runway, it's all you put into, and sooner or later he'll just take off. We've mentioned before, if you teach your baby to read being a baby, it might take 2 or 3 or even 4 years till the takeoff. But there's no hurry, there's no pressure, and this is my second point. I was too pressured. I myself felt pressured, thinking, well, the child I was working with should learn to read, and the pressure I was under, or the pressure I felt, I transmitted to the child, and the child could sense it, and there just was no learning success. You might remember when you yourself were at school, if you had a teacher teaching a subject and the teacher was a big nag, or he was out of it, or he would just yell at you students, you usually didn't learn that subject. Whereas if a teacher enjoyed something and you enjoyed the teacher and he was pleasant to be around, you usually liked that subject as well. So, another point which I have made many mistakes with, and which I want to tell you to watch out for, is that consistency is what really, really helps. Mary, in our last show, has talked about this, how she taught a group of 5- and 6-year-olds to read, and just by doing a little every day, just consistently, keeping the sessions short, but every day working on it, she has had real success. Maybe you have encountered that there have been times where you maybe took your nap time and you planned on making some new reading cards for something, and you were all excited about it, but then you or maybe you really went on the attack about wanting to start reading again, but you found out, as presenting it to the child, it didn't go over very well, and you got all discouraged, so you just dropped it again and wouldn't do anything. So that's another point. Be consistent with your reading. Do a little, but do it every day, or almost every day, as much as you can. And another point which can lead to making mistakes and to not having success in teaching your little ones to read is that you make the print too small. I've experienced that a 2-year-old has loved word cards. She would just sit there, even after I would give her the word cards, she wanted to hold the stack in herself and would just flip the word cards. So I tried to put word cards into a book for her, but by doing so, I had to reduce the print, and even though the child knew the words, she was totally turned off to the book, didn't show any interest, till I realized that the print in the book was too small. So do please watch out for that. So maybe I'll just summarize. The main mistakes are that you might test and get frustrated yourself, you might not be consistent, and the print might be too small. Now, I've had an experience where I have taught a child reading and I've made every one of the mentioned mistakes. So what could I do? I had to almost rethink myself and get rewired myself. And first of all, I just stopped, and I would find some books which the child liked, and I just had times reading to the child. I would make sure to tell the child, this is my book which I read to you. You don't have to read to me, you don't have to worry about anything. I just want to read to you. And I was on the lookout for interesting books and fun books which I knew the child might really like, and every day we just had time together where I was reading to the child. Now, this is an important point, not only to consider with late starters, but with any child. Reading to the child is very, very important. You know how much your children like their bedtime stories. Of course they might like them, because one more bedtime story might mean not having to go to sleep yet. But nevertheless, it's worth it to just have the time where you just transmit language to your child. Have books which the children sit around you and you read them. We have such wonderful materials to do this with. And even in books you buy, be on the lookout for reading series, books which your child herself or himself will read, but also other books which you read to your child. Now, there is a whole big group of them. Some might be books like these. These are from Dr. Seuss, Hop and Pop, and some of them are actually quite silly. I've touched on this before once, but because they are sometimes a bit nonsensical, they do arouse their interest. You will have to point out to the child that some of these words are silly or don't even make sense, but you might really arouse the child's interest with this. Other books are beautiful children's book like this one here. Beautiful print, beautiful pictures. So this could just be a very nice storybook to read to your child. There's a series even of this. Here's another beautiful book about a little horse. So I'll show you just a few more. All of these just normal little children's books which you make a point to read to your child. Here, this Rand McNally publishing house has a whole big series of books, even books with religious themes. Beautiful, beautiful books, beautiful print even. And when reading to the child, late starter or reader, you can, well, with a late starter you want to just read yourself, but with a child who is interested in reading, you might want to point words out as you read it to him. Just the child should decide. If the child likes you to point words out, just go ahead. So, now again I want to stress this is a point important for all readers, late starters or early readers. Have that time to just read books to him. And that's why you want to have two different categories of books. Readers, which have a developing word list, which builds, one book builds upon the other, and then books which you just read to the child. So in my experience I had with a child which I had made so many mistakes with, I first of all just started to read lots and lots of books to the child. Then the next thing I did was I gathered words which the child really liked, words of her interest, words of her liking, and I wrote them on index cards and just flashed, just continually, 3 times, 4 times a day, just had a time where I would say, okay, this is me reading to you. You don't read. All you have to do is just open those big eyes and just look at the word, and I read to you. And because I had chosen words which really interested the child, of course, looked. It was very easy. She didn't have any pressure. There was no pressure, nothing she had to prove. So it was very, very easy on her. And something else I found very worthwhile is to pray with the child and to pray for the child. Now, when praying for the child, to really praise the child for how good he or she is looking, and how easy it makes it for the child to just look, to just open the eyes and just look, and how she pleases the Lord by just doing so. Be careful when you do pray out loud to not put any kind of pressure into the prayer, but just praise the child in prayer. So by doing this, and by doing this over a couple or even 3 months, the child then had full confidence again and was convinced that she didn't have to prove herself and that it was easy. So then I would go back to readers and I would try again, and we were on a road to success. I also found that I had to get away from Ladybird readers, from Dear Peter and Jane, because very often the readers just don't seem to catch their interest. I've had an experience recently where I've been working with a whole group of young children around the age of 3 who've had a whole lot of different teachers trying to teach them reading, but because of different people working on it, there was no consistent plan and therefore no progress. But almost every one of the teacher would try to work on Peter and Jane, so that by now these little 3-year-olds are totally turned off to Peter and Jane. So I decided to drop Dear Peter and Jane, to just hide them in the cupboard and to pull out totally different and new readers which will catch their interest. So that might be a very important point to consider with late starters or with children who've lost interest. Just drop the old hat and just pull out something new. And even if you pull out something like Dear Hop on Pop, which is rather crazy and nonsensical, but it really does catch their interest. Another reader in that series is I'll Teach My Dog 100 Words, and it's quite funny. You can make fun flashcards for words like walk and run or catch a ball, little phrases, little couplets and little sentences, and you can flash these words to your late starter or to your child which got turned off to other readers, and then after you've been flashing them for maybe 3 or 4 days, start beginning to read the book with him or her. Very recently, we've had in our publication a very interesting article which was called Remedial Remedies Reaps Results. And somebody shared in there how a teacher, she was working with a group of children who all didn't seem to be very successful in their reading. It was a group of between 5 and 6-year-olds, all of different backgrounds, and thus all on a different level of reading. And she shares some very interesting and very helpful points in how she has had over a period of 7 months some real success and taught all these children to read. What she also points out here is that she had to get away from the readers the children were so used to. She got away from Ladybird, and she had the children choose stories from the children's publications, and she had the children decide which stories to use. Then she would make flashcards for the difficult words, and after flashing these flashcards to the child, had the children read the story together with her. If the child came across a difficult word, she wouldn't pressure them, she wouldn't ask the child to sound out the word, but she would just tell the child the word. She says here also that besides having had the faith that the child could do it, that the child could learn to read, she also found out that simple consistency was the key. And she gives a very interesting quote here, which says that conduct of successful business, and in this case reading, merely consists in doing things in a simple way, doing them regularly, and never neglecting to do them. She gave reading a top priority, and besides teaching the word, she taught them every day. She had that little reading time with the children. And also she points out that she had to be sure to not ever test the children, but to just give input, and have the faith that what you give into the child, it will pay off. If Brain Injured children can learn to read, then certainly our children can learn to read. But it's up to us. It's up to us to make it fun, to enjoy it, to choose interesting words, to choose interesting material, to consider it a game, and to know that our children, with the wisdom and the spirit the Lord's given them, they can learn it in a breeze. I hope this was helpful. And we'll see you again for our last show in the series. Please stay tuned.
To teach them to read.